Duke's Download. I'm Duke Mason, and I just wanted to share this New Year's Eve short podcast just to reflect on the milestone that we're finally at the end of 2025, which has been, as in many ways, a difficult year, but has also given us reason to hope for the future. I'm really, on a personal level, proud of what we've been able to achieve in the last month or so of this year with this podcast. When we started this podcast, we set out to bridge the divide between politics and pop culture, something that at times I think people don't necessarily correlate the two, or they don't think about it enough. But that was one of the chief goals of this podcast, was to try to start bridging that divide and to start reflecting on the ways in which both arenas impact the other. And I think we've really done that on this podcast thus far. It's only been a few weeks, but so far the reception we've gotten has been amazing. I think we've touched people. I think you guys have provided me a tremendous gift and reward in terms of the feedback that you've given me, which has been really amazing and really valuable. So I'm really optimistic about what we have going forward. As you'll see next week, we're going to start this new year off with a bang. We've got some amazing guests we've already done interviews with. I think you're going to be really, really happy. Both substantive guests and then also some interviews that are a little more lighthearted, which I think you need sometimes. You need a little bit of give and take, a little bit of serious and fun at the same time. So you'll have those in the very near future. And I think this podcast is going to continue to grow and make an impact in short order. I think as we end this year, it's important to reflect on what we've seen in 2025. If you look back on where we started this year with Trump being sworn into office, it's almost hard to wrap your head around the amount of difficult challenges that we've had to deal with in the political arena. Obviously, all the rollbacks in terms of freedom of the press, in terms of the attacks on our community and specifically on the trans community. We've also seen the absolutely absurd personal enrichment that the Trump family has undertaken this year, with virtually zero accountability or from people within their own party, even though these are the same people who spent God knows how much time, years, decades, investigating and trying to create something out of nothing when it comes to the conduct of the Clintons and the Bidens. And then also just in terms of foreign policy, for me, one of the stories that really hit hard this year was what the Trump administration did when it comes to refugees and asylum seekers, what we did with the prison in El Salvador. I wrote an article, in fact. Those of you who don't follow my Substack, I encourage you to check it out at jamesdukemason.substack.com. And I wrote an article a few months ago about an individual who was without any kind of oversight or due process, was apprehended. He was a gay asylum seeker from Venezuela, and he was shipped off to a prison in El Salvador and spent months there with no contact from the outside world, no idea that the American government was actually, or that the American press or the gay community here in the States was demanding his release, was shipped away to a prison in El Salvador, was reportedly sexually assaulted there. Finally, he was released, but he was deported back to Venezuela, the country that he fled, due to the government, the American government saying, we're not here for you. Even though we used to be a country that took in asylum seekers, we're going to ship you back to the country that you fled from. To me, that was one of the stories that really hit home. And I think about all the challenges that we faced this year. And of course, it's difficult. It's daunting. It certainly makes you feel like we've got a lot ahead of us in terms of turning this thing around, trying to make things better. But I actually am optimistic. I'm feeling more optimistic. I touched on this in our Christmas special last week. But I am feeling more and more optimistic about the future. I think we end this year on a high note. I think the last month and a half, things have started to turn in our favor. It feels like the momentum is on our side. The wind is at our backs. And I think we're gonna turn this thing around. That's not to say it's gonna be easy. That's not to say there hasn't been a massive amount of consequences for our community and for more broadly for our country. But I think the more we engage, the more we converse, the more we galvanize each other, the more we remind each other about the end goal here, about the more we keep ourselves on track and focus on the light at the end of the tunnel, I think we're going to make it out of this on the other hand, and we're going to be okay. But of course, I wish in the meantime we didn't have to endure all of these setbacks. But ultimately, I think we're going to be okay. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I think that even on a small level, this podcast has started to have the outcome and has started to fulfill the objective that it started out as or started out with. But we're going to keep on trucking. And I really hope that all of you continue to engage, whether it's likes, subscribing, sharing our podcast with people who haven't necessarily seen it yet or haven't subscribed, leaving comments, even making suggestions about guests and topics that you think we should cover. I think that's really important because I just want this to be a siloed experience. That would be, not only would it be boring, but it would be a fruitless endeavor as far as I'm concerned. If I were to just basically talk to myself, I want you guys to reach out to me and let me know what you want to hear, the kind of conversations that you think would be useful. So email us at questions@dukesdownload.com. And I think next year, we're going to have a really good year. I think by this time next year, the whole playing field and the whole state of our country and our community is going to look very different. I hope, of course, that means, more importantly than anything else, perhaps, that we're going to win back control of Congress in 2026. There's a lot of work to do between now and then. But I hope that the next year we achieve that objective. But I think in general, we're just going to feel a lot lighter. I think if we can make it through 2025, we can basically do anything. So I just wanted to come on here to say, I hope you all had a great holiday, and I hope you all have a very happy New Year. I hope you're going to have some fun tonight, and I hope that we have a great year. I'll see you next week, and just thank you for all the continued support. It means the world to me. See you soon. Thank you for joining me today on Duke's Download. This podcast is part of Pride House Media, hosted by me, Duke Mason, and produced and edited by Josh Rosenzweig. Original music composed by Nell Balaban. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And while you're there, leave us a rating and review. It really helps others to discover the show. I'd love to stay connected with you, so join the conversation by following me at James Duke Mason on Instagram and X, or by emailing me at questions@dukesdownload.com.